Picture this. Your alarm goes off at 5 in the morning. Outside, it's still dark, the world is quiet, and most people are deep in sleep. But you're up. Not groggy, not stumbling toward the coffee pot, but awake, alert, and intentional. By the time everyone else starts their day, you've already worked out, journaled, reflected, and planned. You've basically stolen time from the world and made it your own. Sounds dramatic, right? That's the premise of Robin Sharma's The 5 a.m. Club. The big idea is simple but powerful. Wake up early, structure your mornings intentionally, and you'll transform your productivity, your creativity, and even your sense of peace. Now, I'll be real with you. The first time I heard about this book, I rolled my eyes. Wake up at 5? Seriously? I'm barely functional before 8. But then I thought back to the times I did wake up early. Travel days, exam mornings, or quiet moments before work. Those mornings always felt different. There's a magic in the silence before the world wakes up. Sharma's book takes that magic and turns it into a whole philosophy of life. The book came out in 2018 and it quickly became a global hit. It's not written like a dry self-help manual. Sharma wraps his lessons in a story, a fable actually, about a struggling artist, a frustrated entrepreneur, and a quirky billionaire who mentors them. Through this narrative, he delivers his message about the power of mornings, discipline, and mastering your inner world. Now, I'll be real with you. The first time I heard about this book, I rolled my eyes. Wake up at 5? Seriously? I'm barely functional before 8. But then I thought back to the times I did wake up early. Travel days, exam mornings, or quiet moments before work. Those mornings always felt different. There's a magic in the silence before the world wakes up. Sharma's book takes that magic and turns it into a whole philosophy of life. The book came out in 2018 and it quickly became a global hit. It's not written like a dry self-help manual. Sharma wraps his lessons in a story, a fable actually, about a struggling artist, a frustrated entrepreneur, and a quirky billionaire who mentors them. Through this narrative, he delivers his message about the power of mornings, discipline, and mastering your inner world. Now, I'll be real with you. The first time I heard about this book, I rolled my eyes. Wake up at 5? Seriously? I'm barely functional before 8. But then I thought back to the times I did wake up early. Travel days, exam mornings, or quiet moments before work. Those mornings always felt different. There's a magic in the silence before the world wakes up. Sharma's book takes that magic and turns it into a whole philosophy of life. That's what this book is about. It's about taking control of your mornings so you can take control of your life. Over the next 4 parts, we'll break the book down together. The story and characters that carry the message. The big ideas like the 20-20-20 rule, the 4 interior empires, and the science of habits. The themes of discipline, mastery, and service. And finally, the cultural impact, why this book has resonated with so many people, and whether it's right for you. So grab your metaphorical coffee, maybe even set your alarm a little earlier tomorrow, and let's dive into Robin Sharma's The 5 a.m. Club. One thing that sets the 5 a.m. Club apart from your typical self-help book is the way Robin Sharma tells it. Instead of just laying out principles and bullet points, he wraps the whole philosophy inside a story. It's part novel, part fable, part motivational play. At first, I wasn't sure what to think. A billionaire mentor teaching life lessons to 2 struggling people? It almost sounded cheesy. But once I leaned into the storytelling, I realized it was Sharma's way of making these lessons memorable. You don't just read them, you experience them alongside the characters. The characters. We meet 3 central figures. First, there's the artist, a young painter who feels stuck. She's talented but insecure, struggling to create the art she dreams of. She's weighed down by self-doubt and the constant pressure of comparing herself to others. Then there's the entrepreneur, ambitious but burned out. He wants to succeed, to build something big, but stress, distraction, and fatigue keep holding him back. He feels like he's running on a hamster wheel, working harder but not smarter. And then the mysterious billionaire mentor. He's eccentric, sometimes even silly, but wise in unexpected ways. Think of him as a cross between a quirky guru and a practical teacher. He introduces them, and us, to the philosophy of the 5 a.m. club. I like this setup because it mirrors the people we all know. Maybe you see yourself in the artist, creative but blocked, or in the entrepreneur, ambitious but exhausted. And the billionaire? He represents that inner voice of wisdom we often ignore until we're desperate for change. The first lesson: own your morning, elevate your life. Early in the story, the billionaire drops the core idea. If you want to own your life, start by owning your morning. Most of us start our days reacting to alarms, to emails, to messages. We wake up already behind. But Sharma flips it. He says, if you claim the first hour of your day for yourself, you start in control. That control ripples outward into everything else. It's like building a fortress around your morning. Instead of letting the world rush in, you protect that time for your mind, body, and soul. The artist and entrepreneur is skeptical at first, and honestly, so was I. But then I thought back to mornings when I'd accidentally woken up earlier than usual. The quiet was almost magical. No one texting me, no social media notifications, no noise, just stillness. And in that stillness, I could think more clearly. That's the magic Sharma's trying to bottle with this concept. The 20-20-20 formula. Here's where the billionaire gets practical. He introduces the famous 20-20-20 formula, a way to structure the first hour of your day, from 5 to 6 a.m. It breaks down like this. First 20 minutes, move. Get your body moving. Run, stretch, do push-ups, dance around your living room. Whatever gets your blood flowing. The science is clear. Exercise in the morning floods your brain with dopamine and serotonin, lowers cortisol, that stress hormone, and wakes you up faster than coffee ever could. I remember the first time I tried this. I stumbled out of bed, put on some music, and did a quick workout. Within minutes, I was sweating and suddenly wide awake. By the time I showered, I felt like I had already accomplished something before the sun came up. That's the magic Sharma is trying to bottle with this concept. Second 20 minutes, reflect. Now that your body is awake, it's time for your mind. This could be journaling, meditation, prayer, or simply sitting quietly with your thoughts. The key is to reflect on where you are and where you're going. Gratitude, planning, self-awareness, it all goes here. For me, journaling was the game changer. I started scribbling down what I was grateful for, what I wanted to focus on that day, and what might trip me up. That 20 minutes became like a compass, pointing my day in the right direction. Final 20 minutes, grow. This last block is about learning. Read a book, listen to a podcast, study something new. Feed your mind before the world distracts you. It's like watering your brain in the quiet of dawn before the day dries you out. I remember reading just 10 pages of a personal development book each morning. It didn't feel like much, but after a month, I'd finished an entire book I might never have found time for otherwise. That's the power of stacking small wins. Why 5 a.m.? At this point, you might be thinking, okay, I get the formula, but why does it have to be 5 in the morning? Can't I just do this at 7 or 8? Good question. The billionaire explains that 5 a.m. is a victory hour. It's the quietest time of the day when your willpower is strongest and distractions are minimal. By 7 or 8, the world is awake. Emails, meetings, family demands, they all pile in. But at 5, it's just you and the silence. Sharma also leans on research showing that our brains are especially plastic early in the morning. That means your habits and thoughts stick more during those hours. It's like the soil is softer. You can plant seeds more easily. I'll admit, the first few days are brutal. The alarm feels like an enemy. But once you push through, your body adapts. And that early silence, it starts to feel like a gift. Resistance and breakthrough. The artist and entrepreneur, of course, resist. The idea of waking up at 5 a.m. feels impossible. They groan, they complain, they doubt. And that's exactly how most of us react when we first hear about the 5 a.m. club. But here's the turning point. They give it a try. And slowly, they notice changes. More energy, more clarity, more focus, less of that frantic, reactive scramble that used to define their mornings. It reminded me of when I first tried it myself. Day 1, rough. Day 2, still rough. Day 3, something shifted. By the end of the week, I felt like I had discovered hidden hours in my day. Wrapping up part 2. So in this section of the book and of our breakdown, we've met the characters, heard the billionaire's philosophy, and learned the 20-20-20 formula. This is the foundation of the 5 a.m. Club. Claim your mornings, structure your first hour, and build a routine that feeds your body, mind, and soul. The characters are still at the start of their journey, but they're beginning to taste the benefits. And if you've ever wanted to feel ahead of the day instead of behind it, this is where the magic starts. In the next part, we'll dive into the deeper framework Sharma teaches, like the 4 interior empires, the habit installation protocol, and why lasting change comes in stages. These are the systems that make the 5 a.m. Club more than just an early alarm clock. By this point in the story, the artist and the entrepreneur are beginning to see the magic of early mornings. They're still shaky, still resisting, but the billionaire keeps pulling them forward. And this is where he drops some of the deeper frameworks that turn the 5 a.m. Club from a routine into a philosophy of life. The 4 interior empires. The billionaire explains that true greatness isn't built by chasing external success alone. Most people obsess about money, status, or recognition, but they ignore what he calls the 4 interior empires. These are mindset, heartset, healthset, and soulset. 1. Mindset. This is the way you think, the beliefs you carry, the patterns you repeat, the perspective you bring to challenges. If your mindset is weak or negative, no amount of external success will stick. It's like building a mansion on sand. I remember when I first read this, I thought of all the times I sabotaged myself, not because of lack of skill, but because of a story I kept repeating in my head. I'm not good enough, or I'll probably fail. Sharma's clear. Master your mindset, and you master the foundation of your life. Heartset. This is about emotional life. It's easy to ignore feelings when chasing goals, but unhealed emotions eventually drag you down. The billionaire says, process your pain, forgive, build compassion. A strong heartset makes you resilient and keeps you connected to others. This hit me hard. I'd never thought of emotional well-being as part of productivity, but of course it is. Ever tried to focus at work while you're angry, heartbroken, or anxious? Exactly. Healthset. This one's obvious, but often neglected. Without health, nothing else matters. Exercise, sleep, nutrition, they're not luxuries, they're essentials. The 5 a.m. Club ties into this because moving your body first thing in the morning sets the tone for the day. The first week I tried waking up early, I combined it with exercise, and I noticed the difference almost instantly. Instead of dragging through the day, I felt sharp and energized. Soulset. This is the one most people skip. Soulset is about spirituality, not necessarily religion, but a sense of purpose, connection, and service beyond yourself. It's about asking, why am I here? What impact am I making? The billionaire insists that greatness isn't just about personal success, it's about legacy. When you nourish your soul set, you live for more than yourself. Together, these 4 empires form the foundation of a balanced, fulfilled life. Sharma's message is clear. Success without wholeness isn't really success. The habit installation protocol. At this point, the artist and the entrepreneur are beginning to see the magic of early mornings. They're still shaky, still resisting, but the billionaire keeps pulling them forward. And this is where he drops some of the deeper frameworks that turn the 5 a.m. Club from a routine into a philosophy of life. The habit installation protocol. At this point, the artist and the entrepreneur are starting to practice the 20-20-20 formula, but they struggle with consistency. They groan. They slip back into old habits. They wonder if they can stick with it. Sound familiar? That's where the billionaire introduces the habit installation protocol. He explains that building a new habit follows 3 stages. Stage 1 is destruction. This is the painful beginning. When you first start a new habit, waking up early, exercising, journaling, it feels unnatural. Your brain resists. You crave the comfort of old routines. The billionaire compares it to demolition. You're tearing down old patterns, and it feels messy. I remember when I first read this, I thought of all the times I sabotaged myself, not because of lack of skill, but because of a story I kept repeating in my head. I'm not good enough, or I'll probably fail. Sharma's clear. Master your mindset, and you master the foundation of your life. Stage 2 is installation. This is the awkward middle. You're past the initial shock, but the habit still doesn't feel automatic. It takes effort, willpower, and sometimes sheer stubbornness. Most people quit here. The billionaire encourages the characters, and us, to push through. He says, don't judge the habit too early. Stick with it long enough, and it will move into stage 3, which is integration. This is the breakthrough. The habit becomes part of who you are. Waking up early no longer feels like torture. It feels natural, even necessary. You don't do the habit, you are the habit. The rule of thumb Sharma gives is 66 days, about 2 months, to lock in a habit. The first 22 days are destruction. The next 22 days are installation, and the final 22 days are integration. That 66-day framework gives you a roadmap. If you can stick it out for just over 2 months, you'll own the habit for life. When I tried this myself, I noticed the stages almost exactly as he described. The first 3 weeks were agony. The next 3 were clumsy but doable. And then somewhere on the final stretch, waking up early stopped being a decision. It just became who I was. Why most people quit. The billionaire points out that most people quit during the destruction or installation stages. They mistake discomfort for failure. They think, if this feels hard, it must not be for me. But the truth is, discomfort is a sign you're rewiring your brain. This was a revelation for me. Suddenly, the pain of change felt like progress, not punishment. I started to see struggle as the path to mastery. The science behind it. Sharma sprinkles in some science here, too. He talks about neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself. Every time you repeat a habit, you're literally reshaping your neural pathways. At first, it's clunky, but over time, the path smooths out. That's why consistency is key. He also mentions dopamine, the reward chemical. At first, your brain misses the old comforts, but eventually, it starts rewarding the new habit. That's when the joy of progress replaces the pain of effort. Wrapping up part 3. So, in this section, the billionaire teaches 2 crucial frameworks. The 4 interior empires remind us that true success is holistic, and the habit installation protocol shows us that building habits is messy, painful, and awkward, but if we stick it out for 66 days, they become part of who we are. For the artist and the entrepreneur, these lessons are life-changing. They start to see that the 5 a.m. club isn't about early alarms. It's about transforming who you are from the inside out. And for us, it's the reminder that greatness takes discipline, patience, and balance. We don't just wake up early to check a box. We do it to build ourselves into stronger, calmer, more purposeful humans. By now, the artist and the entrepreneur have started to taste the benefits of the 5 a.m. lifestyle. They're learning the 20-20-20 formula, wrestling through the habit installation protocol, and exploring the 4 interior empires. But Sharma doesn't stop there, because this book isn't just about waking up early. It's really about living deliberately. Theme 1. Mastery over mediocrity. One of the biggest themes running through the 5 a.m. club is mastery. The billionaire insists again and again, don't settle for average when greatness is available. Most people coast through life, reacting to circumstances, stuck in cycles of distraction. The 5 a.m. routine is a tool to break free from that trap. He argues that mastery isn't a one-time achievement. It's a process of daily refinement. Think of it like sharpening a sword. You don't sharpen once and call it done. You return every day, putting in the small, consistent effort that keeps the edge sharp. When I first started waking early, I noticed this principle in action.
At first, the gains were tiny. One more page read, one more idea journaled. But over weeks, those tiny steps started stacking into big changes. That's mastery. Small daily improvements that compound into greatness. Theme 2. The Power of Solitude. Sharma emphasizes that silence is sacred. The 5 a.m. hour isn't just about productivity, it's about solitude. In a noisy world, those quiet early hours become a sanctuary. The billionaire points out that history's greatest thinkers, artists, and leaders all carved out time alone. It's in solitude that you connect with your best ideas, your deepest truths, and your clearest plans. I felt this theme hit hard the first time I journaled at 5:15 a.m. The world was asleep, my phone was silent, and my thoughts poured out without distraction. It felt almost spiritual, like I was meeting a part of myself I usually ignore in the rush of the day. Theme 3. Discipline as Freedom. This theme is a paradox. The more disciplined you are, the freer you become. Most of us think of discipline as restriction, but Sharma flips it. Discipline is the gateway to freedom. Wake up early and you're free from chaos. Build habits and you're free from constant decision fatigue. Train your body and you're free from illness and fatigue. I once heard a phrase that mirrors this. Easy choices, hard life. Hard choices, easy life. That's exactly what this theme is about. Choosing the hard discipline of 5 a.m. gives you the freedom of a better day. Theme 4. Service and Legacy. The billionaire reminds the artist and entrepreneur, and us, that all this discipline isn't just for personal gain, it's for service. The 5 a.m. Club isn't about becoming selfishly productive, it's about becoming strong enough to contribute. This ties back to the soulset from part 3. Your purpose isn't just to get ahead, it's to leave a legacy, to serve others, to uplift your community. When I read this, it hit me differently. It's easy to treat self-improvement like a solo sport, me, me, me. But Sharma says, make yourself great so you can help others. That's what makes life meaningful. Symbolism in the 5 a.m. Club. Sharma uses symbolism throughout the book to reinforce these themes. Let's unpack a few. The 5 a.m. hour. This isn't just a time of day, it symbolizes new beginnings, clarity, and self-mastery. It's the metaphorical sunrise of your life. The billionaire. He represents wisdom, discipline, and the part of ourselves that knows we're capable of more. He's quirky and exaggerated, but really, he's the voice of guidance inside us. The artist and entrepreneur. They symbolize us, the creative dreamer and the ambitious striver inside everyone. Their struggles mirror our own doubts and distractions. The journey. Throughout the book, the characters traveled to different locations, beaches, palaces, mountains. Each place symbolizes a stage of growth, a new level of awareness. It's less about geography and more about inner transformation. Theme 5. Time as Wealth. Another powerful theme is how Sharma frames time. He says, own your mornings, elevate your life. The underlying idea is that time, not money, is the real currency of greatness. At 5 a.m., you buy back hours most people waste. You're essentially creating extra wealth in the form of time. Time to move, reflect, grow. And once you realize time is the ultimate treasure, you stop squandering it. Theme 6. Identity over willpower. This one blew my mind. Sharma suggests that lasting change doesn't come from white-knuckled willpower. It comes from identity. You don't do the 5 a.m. Club. You become the type of person who wakes up early. That's why the billionaire emphasizes integration. When a habit fuses with your identity, you no longer fight yourself. You live it. This theme is echoed in modern psychology. Researchers say identity-based habits are the most powerful. Instead of saying, I want to run, you say, I am a runner. Instead of saying, "I'll try to wake up early," you say, "I am the kind of person who values mornings." The emotional arc. Through all this, Sharma builds an emotional arc. The artist and entrepreneur start out lost and skeptical. They resist, they doubt, they stumble, but through discipline and guidance, they start to transform. By the end, they have not only adopted new habits, but also new identities. And that's the point. The 5 a.m. Club isn't just about mornings, it's about transformation, personal, emotional, spiritual. Wrapping up part 4. So in this section of our breakdown, we have peeled back the deeper layers of the 5 a.m. Club. We've seen its major themes: mastery, solitude, discipline, service, and the value of time. We've unpacked its symbolism, from the characters to the sacred hour of dawn, and we've understood its philosophy. This isn't about waking up early just for the sake of it. It's about becoming someone greater, day by day. For me, this was where the book shifted from wake-up early advice to a philosophy for living. It's not about alarms, it's about alignment. Aligning your habits with your highest values, your time with your true priorities, and your life with your legacy.
By now, we've walked alongside the artist, the entrepreneur, and their billionaire mentor. We've learned the 20-20-20 formula, wrestled through the habit installation protocol, explored the 4 interior empires, and unpacked the deeper themes of mastery, discipline, solitude, and service. But before we close this journey, let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture. Where this book came from, why it hit so hard culturally, and what we're supposed to do with it now. The origins of Robin Sharma's philosophy. Robin Sharma wasn't always an international best-selling author. In fact, his story mirrors the transformation themes he writes about. He started as a lawyer, working long hours, stressed, chasing success, but feeling unfulfilled. At one point, he realized, this isn't the life I want. He pivoted, self-published his first book, The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, in the 1990s, and slowly built a reputation as a leadership and personal mastery coach. By the time the 5 a.m. Club came out in 2018, Robin Sharma had spent decades mentoring CEOs, athletes, and top performers around the world. This book was his attempt to distill everything he'd learned into one practice anyone could follow. Wake up early, use your mornings wisely, and elevate your life. And he didn't just pull this out of thin air. There's history behind it. Throughout the centuries, many of the world's great thinkers and creators have sworn by early rising. Benjamin Franklin famously said, "Early to bed and early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise." Writers like Ernest Hemingway and Maya Angelou were notorious early birds. Even CEOs today, from Apple's Tim Cook to Starbucks' Howard Schultz, are known for starting their days before the sun. Sharma's book essentially wraps this tradition into a story and system. Cultural impact. When the 5 a.m. Club was released, it took off globally. It wasn't just a book, it became a movement. Social media exploded with people posting their sunrise routines, their 5 a.m. workouts, their journals and reflections. The hashtag 5 a.m. Club trended on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Suddenly, waking up early wasn't just advice, it was an identity. Why did it resonate so much? Because modern life is noisy. We're bombarded with notifications, meetings, responsibilities. Most of us feel reactive, rushed, and distracted. Sharma's invitation to claim the quietest hour of the day felt like rebellion against the chaos. It gave people back control. Of course, the book also sparked debates. Some critics argue not everyone's built for 5 a.m. And that's fair. Night owls, shift workers, parents with newborns, this routine doesn't fit every life. But even critics admit the principle behind it still holds. Whether it's 5 a.m. or 7 a.m., the idea is the same. Guard your time, master your mornings, and you master your life. The psychology and science.
What's fascinating is how much modern science backs up Sharma's claims. Studies show that people who start their days with intentional routines, exercise, reflection, learning, report higher productivity, less stress, and better moods. Neuroscience confirms that willpower is like a muscle, strongest in the morning, weakest by evening. There's also the idea of circadian rhythm. Our bodies naturally peak in alertness in the morning hours, and using that peak for high-value work can make a massive difference. Sharma didn't invent this, but he gave it a name and a method the average person could apply. My reflection. For me, the biggest takeaway from the 5 a.m. club wasn't just the hour, it was the mindset. The first hour of the day is a gift, and how you use it matters. Before this book, I often woke up reacting to emails, to alarms, to noise. After trying Sharma's system, I realized I could choose how to start, move, reflect, grow. That choice changed how the entire day unfolded. And look, I'll be honest, I don't always wake up at 5. Sometimes life happens. But even on the days I miss it, I carry the philosophy. I protect my mornings, even if they start a little later. That's the real legacy of the book. It makes you intentional about your time. Now let me turn this to you. Have you ever tried waking up at 5? What would you do with an extra quiet hour every morning? Would you use it to exercise, journal, read, or maybe just sit in silence with your thoughts? Drop your answers in the comments. I'd love to hear how you'd spend your victory hour. And if you're already part of the 5 a.m. club, share your story. Your experience might inspire someone else to give it a try. Recommendations. If you enjoyed this breakdown of the 5 a.m. club, I'd also recommend Robin Sharma's The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. It's a similar mix of fable and philosophy, but it focuses more on spirituality and purpose than productivity. And if you're interested in the science of habits, James Clear's Atomic Habits pairs beautifully with Sharma's work. It explains the psychology of why habits stick or fail. Call to action. Now, if this video gave you something to think about, hit that like button. It really helps the channel. Subscribe if you want more deep dive book breakdowns like this one. And share this with a friend who's been talking about getting their life together. Maybe their journey starts tomorrow at 5 a.m. Closing thought. Let's end with this. Mornings set the tone for your life. The 5 a.m. club isn't just about beating the sunrise. It's about beating mediocrity, beating distraction, beating the chaos of modern living. Robin Sharma's message is simple. If you own your morning, you elevate your life. Whether it's 5 a.m. or simply your own quiet hour, the principle is timeless. Protect that time, feed your body, mind, and soul, and you'll build not just a productive life, but a meaningful one. So tomorrow morning, when your alarm rings, pause before you hit snooze. Ask yourself, what if this is the start of something bigger? What if today I choose to rise with intention? That's the heart of the 5 a.m. club. Not just waking up early, but waking up to your potential. Until next time, keep growing, keep reflecting, and keep rising.